When you walk into the room, my head begins to spin. Don't know where I'm going or where on earth I've been. I'm on the edge of falling for love I never knew. Don't know I'm so close to getting close to you. When my love song starts to play, do you hear its theme? Are we just a kiss away, or is this just a dream? Good things come to those who wait. How I hope it's true. I'm so close to get close to you. To spin. Don't know where I'm going or where on earth I've been. I'm on the edge of falling for love I never knew. I'm so close to getting close to you. When my love song starts to play, do you hear its theme? Are we just a kiss away, or is it just a dream? Good things come to those who wait. How I hope it's true. I'm so close to getting close. So close to getting close. So close to getting close to you. So close to getting close to you.
With my baby tonight, I just wanna boogie, boogie tonight. I wanna boogie with my baby tonight. If I'm a little lonely, the telephone will ring and it's my man on the line. I got one ambition, gonna turn on his ignition, wrap the motor up and boogie with my baby. He says we're going dancing, so I'm wearing something sexy, cause I know what he likes. I got one desire, gonna start a raging fire, turn the heater up and boogie with my baby. I'm so lucky that I found him. That boy's the real McCoy. Anytime that I'm around him, I just gotta jump for joy. He doesn't have to tell me, I know how much he wants me by the look in his eye. I know what he's craving, the loving I've been saving, and tonight I'm gonna boogie with my baby. If I'm a little lonely, the telephone will ring and it's my man on the line. I got one ambition, gonna turn on his ignition, rev the motor up and boogie with my baby. He says we're going dancing, so I'm wearing something sexy, cause I know what he likes. I got one desire, gonna start a raging fire, turn the heater up and boogie with my baby. I'm so lucky that I found him, that boy's a real McCoy. Anytime that I'm around him, I just gotta jump for joy. He doesn't have to tell me, I know how much he wants me by the look in his eye. I know what he's craving, the loving I've been saving, and tonight I'm gonna boogie with my baby. I just wanna boogie, boogie tonight. I just wanna boogie with my baby tonight. I just wanna boogie, boogie tonight. I wanna boogie with my baby tonight. I just wanna boogie, boogie tonight. I just wanna boogie with my baby tonight. I just wanna boogie, boogie tonight. I wanna boogie with my baby tonight.
Hello, hello! How is everybody doing this evening? And I am here for this evening's coffee talk with Mitch the Ripper.
I am the king of girth.
And Lou.
Hello again. I'm here to noobify everything for you.
And in the live chat we have a Gaylord. Hello, a Magnus, that truckin' motherfucker. We have my Thraxie baby. We have Fuckwad. Yes. And let me see, I think that's all we've... Oh, and the Callie. Can't forget the Callie. The Callie with the cancer in the morning. She supplies me with my daily dose of cancer Monday through Friday. Can't forget the Callie. So tonight, and yes, I know this is a bit late, but when you wait a little while, you tend to find more stuff. And that's what we did. We're not only going to go through the FISA memo, break it down, and explain exactly what it says in it, but we also found the Democrats' response to the letter and also a press release that we're going to be walking through tonight. And, cutting through the bullshit as we often do and have a little lively discussion about it because, bullcrap ensues and we have to point it all out. There's propaganda everywhere.
Feces take place.
Uh-huh. So the first thing we're
Absolutely,
going...
especially when you're dealing with reactions from...
Oh, yes, reactions from the left. The salt. Hello, Jacob. So
the
now...
glorious salt.
Yep. Let me make this a little bit bigger so everybody can see this as we're reading it. And yes, this is a new layout for Coffee Talk. Hopefully you guys can see this a lot clearer than you have been. I decided to make a new layout to give the documents section a, bigger space so people can see what we're reading actually. So, February 2nd, 2018, the Honorable Devin Nunes, Chairman, House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, United States Capitol, Washington, D.C., 20515. Dear Mr. Chairman, on January 29th, 2018, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, hereinafter the committee, thank God because it's a mouthful, voted to disclose publicly a memorandum containing classified information provided to the committee in connection with its oversight activities. The memorandum, which is attached to this letter, as provided by Clause 11G of Rule 10 of the House of Representatives, the committee has forwarded this memorandum to the President based on its determination that the release of the memorandum would serve the public interest. Basically, we voted on it, sent it to Trump, and Trump said, all right, declassify that shit.
Sounds about right.
What we say in one or two sentences, they take an entire paragraph. But,
Yeah, pretty much.
Politics. The Constitution vests the President with the authority to protect national security secrets from disclosure. As the Supreme Court has recognized, it is the President's responsibility to classify, declassify, and control access to information bearing on our intelligence sources and methods and national defense. In other words, he gets to say what gets said, what gets released, and what gets hush-hushed. In order to facilitate appropriate congressional oversight, we will use a lot of words. No, wait a minute. That's not what the memo says. The executive branch may entrust classified information to the appropriate committees of Congress as it is done in connection with the committee's oversight activities. Yeah. The executive branch does so on the assumption that the committee will responsibly protect such classified information consistent with the laws of the United States. They're awfully long-winded in the preamble in this letter.
Is it over yet? I'm trying to
I'm
cook a
dozing off.
stone.
All right, let me see. And here is the unclassified memo. All right, so I skipped some because, boy, that letter was full of rigmarole and legalese and political crap. So let's get to the good part, right? Right. This memorandum provides members an update on significant facts relating to the committee's ongoing investigation into the Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation and their use of Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act during the 2016 presidential election cycle. Our findings, which are detailed below, number 1, raise concerns with the legitimacy and legality of certain DOJ and FBI interactions with the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, which we will call here on out as FISC. And 2, represent a troubling breakdown of legal processes established to protect the American people from the abuses related to the FISA process. FISA was not intended to be used against the American people.
Hence the word foreign.
Exactly. Yes, the Democrats' version has been released, hellbound. We're going to be reading that as soon as we get through the memo. Investigative update. On October 21st, 2016, DOJ and FBI sought and received a FISA probable cause order, not under Title VII, authorizing electronic surveillance on Carter Page from the FISC. Now, if somebody can look up who Carter Page is so we can clarify this to the public, that would be cool. I forgot to look that up. Page is a U.S. citizen who served as a volunteer advisor, never mind, they're explaining it, to the Trump presidential campaign Consistent with requirements under FISA, the application had to be first certified by the director or deputy director of the FBI. It then required approval of the Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, or the Senate-confirmed Assistant Attorney General for the National Security Division. A whole lot of titles, lots of alphabet soup. In other words, everybody had to say yes. The FBI and DOJ obtained one initial FISA warrant targeting Carter Page and 3 FISA renewals from the FISC as required by statute, and the statute is listed there, 50 U.S.C. subsection 1805 D1. A FISA order on an American citizen must be renewed by the FISC every 90 days, and each renewal requires a separate finding of probable cause. So, 90 days from the initial warrant, 3 more warrants makes 15 months. My math correct? No, 12 months. 12 months. Hey, Angel Zones.
I'll go with that. I can't math.
12 months. All right. So, then Director James Comey signed 3 FISA applications in question on behalf of the FBI, and Deputy Director Andrew McCabe signed 1. Then DAG Sally Yates, then Acting DAG Dana Bonte, and DAG Rod Rosenstein each signed 1 or more FISA applications on behalf of the DOJ. This is where I'm going to point out that Director James Comey has already had a spotlight put on him for openly being biased against Trump during the collusion investigation. Let us not overlook that. Because, you know...
Are we talking about the collusion investigation between the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the Clinton campaign?
No, we're talking about James Comey trying to find a connection with Trump colluding with Russia. Because, you know.
Oh, wait. I guess investigating a strange meeting on a tarmac is not probable cause.
Apparently not.
I should rephrase that to a strange meeting on a tarmac is not probable cause for an investigation, but whatever. How are the grandkids?
Right. How are the grandkids? Due to the sensitive nature of foreign intelligence activity, they keep saying foreign intelligence activity, but it happened here in the United States.
On a tarmac. Anyway, go on.
FISA submissions, including renewals before the FISC, are classified. As such, the public's confidence in the integrity of the FISA process depends on the court's ability to hold the government to the highest standard, particularly as it relates to surveillance of American citizens. However, the FISC's rigor in protecting the rights of Americans, which is enforced by 90-day renewals or surveillance orders, is necessarily dependent on the government's production to the court of all material and relevant facts. This should include information potentially favorable to the target of the FISA application. My tongue is glitching. That is known by the government. In the case of Carter Page, the government had at least 4 independent opportunities before the FISC to accurately provide an accounting of the relevant facts. However, our findings indicate that, as described below, material and relevant information was omitted.
Omitted!
And what does omitted mean?
Left out.
Exactly.
By means of intent.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. Number 1, the dossier compiled by Christopher Steele, henceforth known as the Steele dossier, on behalf of the Democratic National Committee, that good old DNC that stuck Bernie Sanders in a corner with a dunce cap, and the Hillary Clinton campaign. Let's admit, you guys in the live chat, let's play a game. How many times do I say in the memo, Hillary Clinton campaign? Pay attention. An essential part of the Carter Page FISA application. Steele was a longtime FBI source who was paid over $160,000 by the DNC and Clinton campaign via the law firm Perkins, Cole, and research firm Fusion GPS to obtain derogatory information on Donald Trump's ties to Russia.
$160,000.
Mm-hmm. To do what? Try and find a link.
No. It says it perfectly clear right there. To obtain derogatory information.
Uh-huh. Yep.
That's not even They haven't even mentioned Russia, have they? At this point,
not yet.
They're just looking for derogatory information. That doesn't fall within the parameters of FISA.
Nope, it does not. You are correct. They haven't said anything about Russia. 1A. Neither the initial... Yes?
Well, no, it does say derogatory information on Donald Trump's ties to Russia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ties to Russia.
But they waited for a long time to even bring Russia into it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
At least in this part of the document.
Yep. They had to, build us up with the letter first, and then that all preamble in the memo before we got to the meat and potatoes, as usual.
I call it setting a stage, but go on.
Yeah, setting a stage. 1A. Neither the initial application on October 2016 nor any of the renewals disclose or reference the role of the DNC, Clinton campaign, or any party/campaign in funding Steele's efforts, even though the political origins of the Steele dossier were then known to senior DOJ and FBI officials.
Collusion!
Bless you.
Cough.
I'm sorry, the Clintons give me gas.
Yeah. 1B. The initial FISA application notes Steele was working for a named U.S. person, but does not name Fusion GPS and Principal Glenn Simpson, who was paid by a U.S. law firm, Perkins Cole, representing the DNC, even though it was known by DOJ at the time that political actors were involved with the Steele dossier. The application does not mention Steele was ultimately working on behalf of and paid by the DNC and Clinton campaign, or the FBI had separately authorized payment to Steele for the same information.
Hey, before we move on to number 2, there's something I feel the need to point out.
Okay.
The Department of Justice and the FBI both fall under the auspices of the executive branch of government, who is headed up by what position? Anyone?
President.
The United States President.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have to say that being the case, the president at that time, and that was who again?
Obama, I believe.
Yeah, yes, President Obama. I would have to say that the person at the top must take responsibility for the actions of those under his command.
Yep. He is, after all. The other title of U.S. President is Commander-in-Chief.
Well, that's of the armed forces, though. This isn't the armed forces.
But being the president, he does reside over lots of different offices.
But as he is the head executive. He is the chief executive officer, if you will, of that branch of government. And the DOJ and FBI fall under his direct authority. If former President Obama behaves as though this is not his concern, he's doing a great disservice to the office and should be remembered as such.
Yep, I agree.
Obama is only as smart as people portray him.
I think the level of responsibility he'll take for this will involve going to another country and apologizing for some vague thing that no one really cares about.
Yeah.
That seems to be the primary skill set he possesses.
Yep, seems that way. Okay. Number 2, the Carter Page FISA application also cited extensively a September 23rd, 2016 Yahoo News article by Michael Isikoff, which focuses on Page's July 2016 trip to Moscow. This article does not corroborate the Steele dossier because it is derived from information leaked by Steele himself to Yahoo News. The Page FISA application incorrectly assesses that Steele did not directly provide information to Yahoo News. Steele has admitted in British court filings that he met with Yahoo News and several other outlets in September 2016 at the direction of Fusion GPS. Perkins Coie was aware of Steele's initial media contacts because they hosted at least one meeting in Washington, D.C. in 2016 with Steele and Fusion GPS where the matter was discussed.
So who was on September 23rd, 2016, and in fact in the entire year of 2016, who sat at the head of the table of the executive branch of the United States federal government again?
Barack Obama?
Barack Hussein Obama.
And as Magnus Deacon pointed out, Obama, you mean the teleprompter in chief?
That's the one.
That's the one. That's the one. 2A. Steele was suspended and then terminated as an FBI source for what the FBI defines as the most serious of violations. I'm going to break in here. Okay, source. They like to say this officially, but isn't that supposed to be somewhat akin to a confidential informant?
Yes, generally speaking.
Okay.
Basically, what they're suggesting here is that he was employed by the FBI. Mm-hmm. And that's what it sounds like by the wording they chose here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. An unauthorized disclosure to the media of his relationship with the FBI in an October 30th, 2016 Mother Jones article, and everybody in these circles knows that Mother Jones is wildly left, article by David Korn. Steele should have been terminated for his previous undisclosed contacts with Yahoo and other outlets in September before the page application was submitted to the FISC in October, but Steele improperly concealed from and lied to the FBI about these contacts.
Shocking.
Dear Lord, is this crooked?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
This is one of the reasons they didn't want this released, because this is not making the DNC look any better. 2B. Steele's numerous encounters with media violated the cardinal rule of source handling, maintaining confidentiality, and demonstrated that Steele had become a less than reliable source for the FBI. No shit, Sherlock.
Unless, of course, it suits a political agenda.
Mm-hmm. Or it was
Clearly
orchestrated that way and Steele wound up being a scapegoat. Of course, that would be Tin Hattie, but...
Yep.
Not too far off the mark with how some of this is going.
Nope. 3. Before and after Steele was terminated as a source, he maintained contact with DOJ via then Associate Deputy Attorney General Bruce Orr, a senior DOJ official who worked closely with Deputy Attorneys General Yates and later Rosenstein. Shortly after the election, the FBI began interviewing Orr, documenting his communications with Steele. For example, in 2016, Steele admitted to Orr his feelings against then-candidate Trump when Steele said he, quote, was desperate that Donald Trump not get elected and was passionate about him not being president, unquote.
And in bold typeface.
Mm-hmm. And in bold typeface, which is why I emphasized it. This clear evidence of Steele's bias was recorded by Orr at the time and subsequently in official FBI files, but not reflected in any of the page FISA applications. In other words, it was omitted. Because if they would have put it in the application, I bet you anything, the application would not have been approved.
Oh, hell no. Well, at least it wouldn't be, if it were... If everyone was on the up and up, then no. If that information was included, it would have been ignored.
Hellbound, I think you're getting FISA...
Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act was introduced on May 18, 1977 by Senator Ted Kennedy and was signed into law by President Carter in 1978.
Yeah. I think you're getting FISA Hellbound confused with the Patriot Act. Which, that was George Bush's baby that nobody liked. 3A. During this same time period, Orr's wife was employed by Fusion GPS to assist in the cultivation of opposition research on Trump. Orr later provided the FBI with all of his wife's opposition research paid for by the DNC and Clinton campaign via Fusion GPS. The Orr's relationship with Steele and Fusion GPS was inexplicably concealed from the FISC. So there's a conflict of interest there. Or is that
inexplicably concealed.
Mm-hmm.
Not omitted, not accidentally left aside. Concealed.
Concealed. Because that
the use of the word concealed implies intent.
Fuck what? Not true. Obama loved the Patriot Act. Well, he did.
Yes, he did.
He most definitely. Yeah, because, I mean, not concealing it would have revealed a conflict of interest. Unless I am reading this wrong. So, yeah, that's...
Basically, yes.
Okay.
If not a conflict of interest, then at least a clear bias that meant that the source of said information could not be trusted entirely.
Right. Okay, number 4. According to the head of the FBI's Counterintelligence Division, Assistant Director Bill Priestap, corroboration of the Steele dossier was in its infancy, quote-unquote, at the time of the initial page FISA application. After Steele was terminated, a source validation report conducted by an independent unit within the FBI assessed Steele's reporting as only minimally corroborated.
What does that mean? I mean, I know what the words mean individually. I'm talking as a phrase. Is that like saying that a failing student is minimally exceptional?
I think minimally corroborated means that they couldn't verify everything that was in Steele's report.
I mean, that assessment is one thing, but it would be more interesting to know what it was point by point, what was corroborated and what wasn't.
Yeah, that would be. But that would be a far longer memo. I would like to get my hands on that, though. That would be nice to see what they couldn't corroborate.
Oh, yes.
Badass.
Mm-hmm. Yet, in early January 2017, Director Comey briefed President-elect Trump on a summary of the Steele dossier, even though it was, according to his June 2017 testimony, quote, salacious and unverified, unquote. While the FISA application relied on Steele's past record of credible reporting on other unrelated matters, it ignored or concealed his anti-Trump financial and ideological motivations. Furthermore, Deputy Director McCabe testified before the committee in December 2017 that no surveillance warrant would have been sought from the FISC without the Steele dossier information.
It sounds like an intent to deceive, doesn't it?
It does. It does
really. Sounds like someone had an intent to deceive the court.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that might even fall under the category of perjury.
Yeah. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act is just how it's read. It's only supposed to be to surveil foreign entities on foreign soil. It's not supposed to survey anybody in the United States. The Patriot Act was an act designed to be able to illegally tap people's phone lines if certain keywords were spotted through wires on the internet, through emails, and so forth.
Yep.
Hello, Viking Sandwich Wench. Welcome to the show. So,
good evening.
Yep, totally misleading. Number 5. The page FISA application also mentions information regarding fellow Trump campaign advisor George Papadopoulos, but there is no evidence of any cooperation or conspiracy between Page and Papadopoulos. The Papadopoulos information triggered the opening of an FBI counterintelligence investigation in late 2016 by FBI agent Pete Strzok. Strzok was reassigned by the special counsel's office to FBI Human Resources for improper text messages with his mistress, FBI attorney Lisa Page, no known relation to Carter Page, where they had both demonstrated a clear bias against Trump in favor of Clinton, whom Strzok had also investigated. No problem, Hellbound. The Strzok-Lisa Page texts also reflect extensive discussions about the investigation, orchestrating leaks to the media. Let me repeat that. Orchestrating leaks to the media, and include a meeting with Deputy Director McCabe to discuss an insurance policy against President Trump's election.
Nothing to see here. Go about your business.
Right.
This is...
Squirrel!
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
Yeah, it is absolutely dumbfounding to see the lengths that they went through to make sure to stop him from becoming president, and it didn't work. It didn't work.
Thank the Lord, it didn't work.
Right?
Yeah, could you imagine the administration we'd be under now? Could you imagine the shit show this country would be right now if it were otherwise?
I know.
Don't. You're gonna scare me.
I mean, look, it is all this. Good evening, Omegon, and welcome to Coffee Talk. Pull up a chair and grab your favorite brew or steeped drink, since you are across the pond, sir.
I think Omegon is correct. What he's hearing, he says what he's hearing is didn't do nothing.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, that's
exactly
the general response.
The definition of what Hillary did is didn't do nothing, nothing to see here.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole lot of, like, conspiring in small circles in the shadows and trying to keep him from getting elected president. There's lots of conflict of interests going on. If you read, as we read this memo, as we are, like, disseminating the information that we're reading, and it's just, it's sickening. It's not surprising, because we know our government is corrupt, but it's sickening to see how far they will go to try and keep somebody they don't want from becoming president.
Oh, yeah. Well, imagine how much further it goes than that. I mean, I guarantee it goes into Senate and House elections as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Like, what...
Go ahead, Lou.
What do they think they're going to accomplish with this? Are they going to get more votes? Are they going to, what do they think? Do they think people are going to like them after this? That people are going to like them any more than they already don't,
well,
I guess?
Let's be fair. They were counting on this never being declassified.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now they're dead.
Because, I mean, it's evident, and we've seen it ever since they started trying to find the collusion links to link Trump to Russia. Is every time they've gone deeper in their digging, they've only incriminated themselves.
Yep.
Exactly.
You would have thought by now, after the third attempt, and the third time something's come out against the DNC, the Clintons, and the Democratic Party as a whole, they would have said, okay, we need to stop. We need to regroup, and we need to make sure that what we do moving forward from this point cannot incriminate us any further. We need to stop digging.
Nope, they gonna keep digging.
Yeah.
Well, it's because before they stop digging, they have to stop another little habit they have. They have to stop being assholes.
Yeah.
They have to stop trying to deprive people of their rights at every turn.
Yeah. And Hillbound says, Hillary, quotes Hillary, as I only wanted to protect this country from foreign authoritarian puppets. Viking sandwich wench power corrupts. Ronin, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah, it's better to let our country be infiltrated by domestic authoritarian puppets.
Sandwich wench, you're giving the Dems far too much credit for being intelligent. I am trying to stay in the middle here, Sandwich wench. That's my shtick. I try and
I'm
give
here
people...
to stay as far to the right as I possibly can without being called alt-right.
And she's
Wait, too late.
right? Nancy Pelosi is one dumb cunt. I agree, Sandwich wench. I agree.
Now let's be clear about Nancy Pelosi. It's obvious that her ventriloquist has a hand cramp, and that's why that look has been frozen on her face.
Oh my god. Okay, next one.
Just watch. If you doubt what I have to say about her, just watch the State of the Union.
My pizza, Mitch. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh.
Those aren't strings that are being pulled.
You're making her squeak.
Quick, get some WD-40. Loose squeaking again.
All right, here we go. And as always, when somebody says something, somebody's got to respond. So here's a press release from February 2nd of this year. Yeah. House Intelligence Committee minority response to release of Chairman Nunes' misleading memo, because you have to put an entire paragraph for a fucking title. Whatever happened to, like, the art of simple titles?
Well, yeah, you know the expression, and I use this a lot now, and I'm applying it in a couple of different places. Brevity is the soul of wit. Wit is not just being funny. Wit is using your brain.
Yeah.
You know, keep it simple. Mm-hmm. That's all you got to do.
Hunley wants to know.
This thing should have been called Democrat response to the Nunes memo. That's all it should have been called.
Yeah, exactly. Hunley wants to know if someone's tickling a ferret.
Don't make me do it again.
Yes.
All right. The response reads, and they did do a letter. We're getting to the letter. Give us a moment. This is the response. Chairman Nunes' decision, supported by House Speaker Ryan and Republican members of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, there's that overly long fucking title,
Lord.
to publicly release misleading allegations against the Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation, is a shameful effort to discredit these institutions, undermine the special counsel's ongoing investigation, and undercut congressional probes. Furthermore,
I have to break in.
I don't want those probes, thank you very much.
Yeah, it worked for Pelosi. I have to point out that this memo didn't discredit these organizations. James Comey did. Mm-hmm. Loretta Lynch did. Bill Clinton did. President Obama did.
Even Colbert and Tommy and John Oliver did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All of these people on the left are the ones that have discredited these agencies and these institutions by using them for political purposes. And those agencies and institutions are complicit as well for going along with it.
Mm-hmm. Welcome, Michaela Hines. I believe this is your first time to Coffee Talk. Pull up a chair, your favorite brew or steeped beverage. We are going deeper into the FISA memo and the responses to it. Welcome to my channel. If you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button and show me some love. And Gaylord said no one would want to probe Pelosi. Yeah, I agree with that.
True. I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I wouldn't fuck Nancy Pelosi with Hillary Clinton's dick.
Or Michelle Obama's.
Right.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, that one did sit in the Oval Office. Anyway, Squeak, Lou, squeak.
No.
All right. Furthermore, their refusal to allow release of a comprehensive response memorandum prepared by committee Democrats, I don't know why I slipped into my overdramatic British voice, but there you go, is a transparent effort to suppress the full truth. As the DOJ emphasized to Chairman Nunes, the decision to employ an obscure and never-before-used House rule to release classified information without DOJ and FBI vetting was extraordinarily reckless.
It was also to keep everyone honest.
Yeah.
Dumbasses.
Exactly. Because we know if they would have gotten to it, it would have been redacted all to hell and back.
Well, yeah, you know what they're basically saying here is, oh, you guys did let us hide all the stuff we wanted to hide from the people. You're so mean.
Exactly.
God, you guys.
Yeah. Yep, gotta keep them honest. Exactly, Michaela. All right, the selective release and politicization.
The politicization.
Dear Lord.
Politicization.
Thank you. Of classified information sets a terrible precedent and will do long-term damage to the intelligence community and our law enforcement agencies. If potential intelligence sources know that their identities might be compromised when political winds arise, those sources of vital information will simply dry up at great cost to our national security.
Yeah, as already indicated, that information was not vital. It was subjective.
Yep, exactly.
And it was incredibly biased, so
yep.
On that.
Exactly. It was totally biased. Shit that if everything would have been released, FISA would have never been authorized to do what they did.
If they were in power, whatsoever, FISA would not be like a thing at all.
Yep.
It'd be shoved into the abyss.
Well, mind you, these are the same types of people who want to have those Title IX shadow courts in the colleges.
Mm-hmm.
A shadow court, number one, what the fuck does a college have to do with...
What's a shadow court,
with,
man? Can you explain that to me? I'm stupid.
Yeah, I can explain that to you. A shadow court is a court that operates without benefit of public eyes, without the eyes of the public on the situation. I'll give you an example. In our colleges, when two students decide they want to bump uglies for the purpose of mutual gratification, if a third party says, "Oh my God, it was rape. He raped her. She had a hot dog earlier that day, and then it didn't have mustard, so it must have been rape." Then this college shadow court under Title IX, for some reason, has the authority to go in and adjudicate that rape case. They will accuse someone who does not have the right to face their accuser, according to the Bill of Rights. They will not allow due process. They will not allow anything that we consider in this country to be part and parcel to a valid justice system. And I just saw Maddie get up and go out of the room. Either she's got a terrible case of the shits and I'm meant to go on with this for a minute or two, or I don't know what, so I'm just going to go on.
Go with it. Just go.
These shadow courts have ruined people's lives and ruined people's careers, all without the benefit of an attorney, all without the benefit of facing their accusers. This is exactly the kind of system that would be in place now if we had these same people in a higher offices of our country. This is one reason why Trump's victory was such an important step in this nation. And it's not just the Democrats, it's the Republicans too.
Yeah.
It's just they have different motivations, but it's the same basic texture of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it might have been like Sunday morning or something, or it was either Sunday morning on CBS or whatever the hell, or it was just CBS or the Today Show or something in general. Pretty sure it was just CBS News or whatever, but I remember they were interviewing some freaking Republican. I can't remember his name because it's that unimportant to me. But they were this Republican was like, they were talking about FISA, and this Republican was like, "Oh no, I'm one of the few people that's like, no, don't release that shit." Like, what is the point of not releasing information that people are prompting and saying, "Hey, maybe we should release this and tell people this is what's going on"? If somebody's prompting that, why are you saying no? That only makes you look more suspicious than you already are.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason not to release it is to keep everything as secretive as possible. Hence, shadow courts.
Yeah.
That's why
they essentially tried to shadow court President Trump, or I should say, what's the word? Candidate Trump.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and it was clearly for the purposes of getting the general public on their side.
Yeah, like.
Work.
Hey, G. Bronner. Okay.
It's just ridiculous.
It is. But I mean, unfortunately, that's what our government has come to. Unfortunately. This is, the Republican document mischaracterizes highly sensitive classified information that few members of Congress have seen and which Chairman Nunes himself chose not to review. It fails to provide vital context and information contained in DOJ's FISA application and renewals, and ignores why and how the FBI initiated and the special counsel has continued its counterintelligence investigation into Russians' election interference and links to the Trump campaign. The sole purpose of the Republican document is to circle the wagons around the White House and insulate the president. Tellingly, when asked whether the Republican staff who wrote the memo had coordinated its drafting with the White House, the chairman refused to answer.
Wait a second. Are they suggesting that this memo? I'm trying to piece trying to add that yeah.
You want me to
Jigsaw.
want me to read that last sentence again, or 2 sentences again?
I can see it on screen. I'm looking at it.
Okay. The premise of the Nunes memo is that the FBI and DOJ corruptly sought a FISA warrant on a former Trump campaign foreign policy advisor, Carter Page, and deliberately misled the court as part of a systematic abuse of the FISA process. As the minority memo makes clear, none of this is true. The FBI had good reason to be concerned about Carter Page and would have been derelict in its responsibility to protect the country had it not sought a FISA warrant. Yeah, but
what was that reason?
We're going to get to that because I have the draft of that. I have the draft of that letter.
Oh, goody.
Yeah, I found that.
Goody gumdrop.
Yeah. In order to understand the context in which the FBI sought a FISA warrant for Carter Page, it is necessary to understand how the investigation began. Yeah, you don't like Trump. That's how it began.
Yep.
What other information the FBI had about Russia's efforts to interfere with our election, and what the FBI knew about Carter Page prior to making application to the court, including Carter Page's previous interactions with Russian intelligence operatives. This is set out in the Democratic response, which the GOP so far refuses to make public.
Then you make it public.
Exactly.
You know, you're so much better than your opponents, you make it public.
Yep. I'm going to skip over here to the final draft here. This is the PDF of Dear Colleagues on Nunes Memo. February 3rd, 2018. Dear Democratic Colleague, on Friday, House Republicans released the so-called Nunes Memo, a set of deeply misleading talking points drafted by the Republican staff of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Yeah, that long-ass title again. Yeah, they love their titles, I swear to God, and their alphabet soup. House Republicans did so over the objections of the Department of Justice, the Director of the FBI, the Director of National Intelligence, and several Senate Republicans, among others.
I have to point something out. This is the third time in these documents that the word misleading has been used in reference to the Nunes Memo.
Yeah.
Now, what was that I had said earlier about the first rule of brainwashing and indoctrination?
Repetition.
Yeah.
Repetition.
Exactly. You may have heard...
Repeat if necessary.
Often. You may have heard President Trump describe the allegations in the Nunes Memo as a disgrace. He thinks a lot of people should be ashamed. President Trump is right in his way. This embarrassingly flawed memo is a disgrace. House Republicans should be ashamed. Although I have had, in the benefit of reading the materials from that forum, the basis for the Nunes Memo, most members have not, including reportedly Chairman Nunes. Accordingly, I am forwarding the legal analysis below for use by your office based on my review, the Nunes Memo, and on outside sources.
What sources?
Yeah, I know. I hope they list them here. Let's see here. G. Bronner, and they love to name things in direct opposition to their real purpose.
Yes, they do.
Number 1, the FISA court found probable cause to believe that Carter Page is an agent of a foreign power. Nothing in the Nunes Memo rules out the possibility that considerable evidence beyond the Steele dossier helped the court reach that conclusion. We should not lose sight of a critical and undisputed fact. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court found probable cause to believe that Carter Page, a member of the Trump campaign's foreign policy team, was an agent of the Russian government. Anybody want to say citation needed?
Oh, sure. In what capacity?
Exactly.
Citation motherfucking needed.
Yeah, I want to know I want to see where the FBI made that determination. Or wait, let's see.
I'm waiting.
Okay, I want to see where the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court found that probable cause to believe such. That Carter Page was a agent of the Russian government. I want to see evidence.
Yeah.
I want something.
Yep, me too. The Nunes Memo states that on October 21st, 2016, DOJ and FBI sought and received a FISA probable cause order authorizing electronic surveillance on Carter Page. To obtain an order to conduct surveillance under Title I of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, the government must provide a statement of the facts and circumstances demonstrating probable cause that the target of the electronic surveillance is an agent of a foreign power.
That was my dad.
It's okay. So
Yeah, what? Show me the probable cause.
I know, they keep saying that, but they're not showing probable cause. I would love to see how they came to this conclusion. We may never see that, but I would love to get my hands on anything they consider probable cause.
Yeah, something other than a pee-pee story on Yahoo News. Come on, give us something.
Exactly. The central allegation of the Nunes memo is that the government committed a fraud when it obtained an order to conduct surveillance of Carter Page, a member of President Trump's foreign policy team, during the campaign. The memo claims that the dossier compiled by Christopher Steele formed an essential part of the Carter Page FISA application, but that the government failed to disclose the role of the DNC Clinton campaign or any party campaign in funding Steele's efforts. But it also went on to say that they helped fund the amassing of the dossier.
Yeah. Wait, look, failed to disclose.
Themselves a hole at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Let me read that again. Failed to disclose the role of the DNC Clinton campaign or any party/campaign in funding Steele's efforts, except that it came right out and said that he was funded by the DNC, the Clinton campaign, Fusion GPS, and that law firm. What was the fucking tartar sauce and koi, or whatever the hell it's called.
We're reading the memo response, G. Bronner. That's what we're going through now. This is the Democratic memo response. Let me see. First, the Nunes memo. Let me see. If not for this misrepresentation to the court, the story goes, there never would have been a Russia investigation. This claim is deliberately misleading and deeply wrong on the law. There's that misleading shit again. First, the Nunes memo appears to concede that the investigation into the Trump campaign's ties to the Russian government was well underway before the government applied for an order to conduct surveillance of Carter Page. In its final paragraph, the Nunes memo states the Papadopoulos information triggered an opening of an FBI counterintelligence investigation in late July 2016. The statement refers to George Papadopoulos, another member of the Trump campaign's foreign policy team. There's no reason to dispute the Nunes memo's assertion that the FBI was actively investigating the Trump campaign months before they approached the court about Carter Page. The problem here is that we already know that there are at least 3 people that have not only been investigated, they have been sequestered or arrested, whichever word you want to use. But none of them, they can't tie any of these 3 people to, they can't prove that Trump knew what they were doing. The link doesn't go that far.
Nope.
The buck stops here. I mean, it's amazing how they're reaching. This whole...
Yeah, they're basically trying to extend the buck. Mm-hmm. It's a buck extension routine.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Second, there is already a well-established body of law dealing with allegations that material and relevant information was omitted from the application to the court, and in the case of Carter Page, that law appears to fall almost entirely on the side of the government. In Franks versus Delaware, the U.S. Supreme Court held that a court may only void a search warrant if the government knowingly and intentionally, or with reckless disregard for the truth, included false information or excluded the true information that was or would have been critical to the court's determination of probable cause. But they did. They left out bias and conflicts of interest.
Yes. I love that next part in bold. The Nunes memo alleges nothing that would even come close to meeting the standard. Bullshit.
Bullshit. It's like they read the memo and didn't understand what they were reading.
Yeah. See, this is why people get it wrong. I think for our government, for those jobs and those elected and appointed positions, it's not that we need something like term limits. We need competency tests.
Yeah.
That's all we need. We need people to demonstrate that they are competent to hold that position.
Yep. G. Bronner, Burning Straw Man Festival.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Indeed, we have every indication that the government made its application to the court in good faith. So, to be clear, Carter Page was, more likely than not, an agent of a foreign power. That's a supposition with no facts to back it up.
Yeah, they've said nothing prior that would lead me to that conclusion beyond a reasonable doubt.
Exactly. G. Bronner, they purposely misinterpreted it. Yep, they did. The Department of Justice thought so. A federal judge agreed that consensus supported by the facts. What facts? Forms the basis for the warrant issued by the FISA court. What facts? Show me the money.
Where? I don't see any.
Right. Fuck what? No, Maddie. Their response is literally no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all the facts they've got. No, one day I was
Exactly. It's just
You prove anything.
Exactly. The Russian government waged a massive campaign to discredit our election, which has Carter Page appears to have played a role in that effort. The FBI has the responsibility to follow these facts where they lead, which doesn't connect to Trump no matter how much they try. The Nunes memo would have us sweep all this under the rug, and for what exactly?
Wait. The Russian government waged a massive campaign to discredit our election. Oh, like what? When Jill Stein demanded a recount and started crowdfunding to get that recount, then raise the cap on the amount needed? Is that how Russia did it? Through Jill Stein? Did they do it through California not reporting counties individually, but just turning the state blue immediately? How did Russia do it? Come on, give us something. What is this massive campaign? I want to see evidence of this massive campaign. So far, I've seen exactly two things. Jack and shit, and Jack left town.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Jack booked it as soon as he saw all that.
Mm-hmm. Viking
Yeah,
Sandwich.
he saw Hillary Clinton in the yoga pants and said, fuck it, I'm leaving.
Viking Sandwich Wench. Yep, Viking Sandwich Wench says we need politicians who know that they are supposed to serve the people and want to serve the people and not their bank accounts.
Agreed.
Alright, so 2. Christopher Steele is a recognized expert on Russia and organized crime. Though several acts of willful omission, the Nunes memo alleges the FISA application is tainted because Christopher Steele was a longtime FBI source who was paid over $160,000 by the DNC and the Clinton campaign to obtain...
They just made the same point that I made earlier in their own fucking fuck thing.
Yeah.
What the ass? Do you people not...
It's
Who fucking wrote this thing?
No.
Is this somebody's retarded 8-year-old cousin again? For fuck's sake, how many times is that guy going to show up? First he writes a Star Wars movie or two, and now this shit. For fuck's sake.
I know, right? By the DNC and the Clinton campaign to obtain what kind of information? Derogatory information from Donald Trump's ties to Russia. The Nunes memo would have us believe the Russia investigation was a Democratic plot from the outset. That is simply ridiculous.
ridiculous.
You know, there are more holes in this response.
Ridiculous. I'm realizing 3 keywords: ridiculous, derogatory, and misleading.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, what? Seriously, there are more holes in this response than any J.J. Abrams endeavor in the last 10 years. Christ, Tim Burton could have written a better fucking letter.
Yeah.
Because they know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. And Hellbound says in the chat, there's also many states that don't want to turn over their vote, so the accusation of illegals voting is inconclusive.
Yep.
Exactly.
Because, Fifth Amendment, the states have a right to what do you call it? To not incriminate themselves.
Mm-hmm. The Nunes memo...
Incrimination?
Right. I plead the Fifth on the grounds that it may incriminate me, even though pleading the Fifth sometimes makes you look like a dirty rat bastard.
Especially if you're a government representative of some sort.
Mm-hmm. The Nunes
those things exist.
Yeah, they exist. The Nunes memo does not show that the government relied solely or even substantially on the information provided by the FBI to the FBI by Christopher Steele when it made its application to the court. It does not show that Steele's work was compromised by the source of funding. It does not show that Fusion GPS, the firm that hired Steele to do this work, was any more or less diligent than it worked for Democratic clients than when it worked for Republicans. And amazingly, the Nunes memo does not provide a single shred of evidence that any aspect of the Steele dossier is false or inaccurate in any way. Bullshit! 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 Where is it? I'm gonna look for it and I'm gonna...
She's gonna find it now.
Yeah, after Steele was terminated, a source validation report conducted by an independent unit within FBI assessed Steele's reporting as only minimally corroborated.
What?
Oh, hell, I was going to go with the whole open and admitted bias against Trump.
That too.
If that's not reason enough to question the guy's validity as a source, then I don't know what is.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, you've got the conflict of interest, you got the fact that they couldn't corroborate everything in the dossier.
You got the fact that he was paid by a specific portion of the political construct.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Did we have no idea if Christopher Steele even knew the source of his funding when Fusion GPS first hired him to research Donald Trump's connections to the Russian government? In fact, Fusion GPS initiated the project on behalf of the conservative Washington Free Beacon, not the DNC. That was proven by an investigation between, what was his name? I can't remember his name, I'm blanking out.
Les Jesterton.
We'll come up with it in a minute. The guy who made very succinct questions and tripped up the person that he was questioning. I can't remember. Not Comey. Trey Gowdy.
Oh.
Trey Gowdy uncovered that during the hearing. The firm's task was to provide credible research, and they hired an expert for the job, a retired British intelligence officer, apparently not that great in his intelligence, experienced in Russian affairs, and well known to the FBI as a useful source of valuable intelligence in earlier investigations. Confidential informant that was paid a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
Excuse me, he's a government employee, so he's a consultant. Nothing about the source of Steele's funding or his later opinions about Donald Trump speak to the credibility of his work. Yes, it does. It adds a slant to whatever he was looking for. Come on.
Absolutely.
Or
if it doesn't, then there's... If it doesn't, then all right, we'll go with that. But so far, it looks pretty bad.
It does. It looks horrible. You know, let me see here. Or its inclusion in the FISA application. The Nunes memo gives us no reason to doubt the court's determination of probable cause to believe that Carter Page was an agent of the Russian government, particularly given Page's later admissions to the press about his interactions with Russian officials. Links to Fusion GPS, open bias, conflicts of interest, and those are just 3.
Hey, you know what? You know what this response letter reads like? I can sum it up in very few words.
What?
Yeah, but we don't like President Trump.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
all they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fine with that. I'm honestly fine with that. You don't like President Trump? Fine. I don't care. I don't like everything about the guy either. What I do like is that he is raising a middle finger to what he calls the deep state. And that those are the people that need to be rather robustly beaten about the scrotal area.
Or the urethral, right? No. Dang.
The Aretha Franklin. No. The,
Yeah, I said, okay, Thrax goes, or break their kneecaps. I mean, what? G. Bronner, you must shoot the kneecaps. Thrax, shattering their kneecaps work better. I mean, what? I don't know anything. And fuck what? Just go Tanya Harding on them. Steel pipe to the knees.
oh, yes. That
Straight
reminds
to the
me.
kneecaps, shatter them.
Yes.
I always did want to open a place called Club Kerrigan.
Right?
But I guess it was too soon when I was having that plan. Anyway, I went with Club Seal instead.
Oh,
Didn't work any better.
And nothing about the payment from the DNC is unethical or improper. No, people pay outside sources all the time to do investigations. Christopher Steele is one of the world's leading experts on Russian organized crime. Okay, that doesn't mean he's an expert on what he was supposed to find on Trump, because he was biased as hell. His job was to uncover the facts. Many feared during the election that the Trump campaign had been compromised by the Russian government. 2 guilty pleas and 2 indictments later, by not on Trump, those fears seem well justified.
I thought he was hired to find derogatory information.
The Nunes Memo, number 3. The Nunes Memo provides no credible bias whatsoever for removing Rod Rosenstein as Deputy Attorney General.
I'm waiting for Mitch to scream bullshit.
Or fuckity. The Nunes...
I'll get there.
You'll get there. The Nunes Memo makes a point of stating that a number of officials, including Deputy General, signed one or more FISA applications on behalf of the DOJ because Attorney General Jeff Sessions is recused from any investigation related to the 2016 campaigns. Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein directly oversees the special counsel's investigation. The Deputy Attorney General has become a target for those attempting to interfere with that investigation. President Trump has refused to rule out using the Nunes Memo as pretext for dismissing the DAG. You figure that one out, he said when asked about the Deputy Attorney General on Friday. Well, I mean, it's because he's sick of this shit. I think I would have said that too.
Yeah.
Not presidential, but when you're finally sick of this shit, you're sick of this shit. I mean, how much further are you people going to dig?
Out loud, I'm sick of it. And I come from a Democratic household. Dear Lord, I'm sick of hearing my parents talk about it.
Whatever
or just listen to the drivel being spat on TV. Dear Lord, yeah. How do some of you think I feel?
I know, right? Jeez.
As I said, it J.J. Abrams.
Right? When everyone
More
thinks...
J.J. Abrams.
Right. When everyone thinks of the merits of the Nunes Memo, and it's clearly not a serious document, the memo provides no basis whatsoever to justify the removal of Rod Rosenstein as Deputy Attorney General from his critical and trusted position. But nothing stopped him from stepping down either. The Nunes Memo focuses largely on process that it transpired before the DAG took office. There is no reason to believe that he reviewed or approved any FISA application for submission to the court, except according to normal process and procedures.
Hey, let's look for a signature on a document, maybe.
Yeah, right? Because
I guess if there was a signature on a document, there'd be reason to believe that he reviewed or approved a FISA application. There has to be a signature. Do they think we don't? Do they think we don't realize there has to be a signature? Is that what they think?
I think that's what they think.
The reason they're not mentioning that he didn't sign such a warrant is because he probably did, and they don't want to admit to it.
G. Bronner says, I think Trump... Go ahead.
Oh, God. How fucking stupid do they think we are?
Really dumb. Really fucking stupid. G. Bronner...
Dumber than they are?
I mean, do they think we're all Meryl Streep? Fuck me.
We're all in the corner with dumb scouts going.
Yeah, we're all just standing there like Winona Ryder at that fucking speech.
Right. God, that was a look.
Wait, what happened with Winona Ryder at what speech?
Oh my God.
I'll find a link for you.
Yeah, it was priceless. G. Bronner says, I think Trump really had no idea what draining the swamp really entails. No, he didn't. He's finding it out. The Nunes Memo leaves out a critical point in this area as well. Under Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, when seeking a renewal of a surveillance order, the government is required to provide the court a statement of facts concerning all previous applications involving any of the persons, facilities, or places specified in the application. That requirement includes a description of the intelligence received so far and its value to the underlying case. Although he was not involved in the initial application, the DAG could not have signed an application to renew surveillance on Carter Page if the government was unable to show that it had already gathered valuable evidence under existing orders and expected that collection to continue. Under these circumstances, any decision not to approve the renewal would have appeared to have been politically motivated. All this is politically motivated. What the hell are you talking about? All this is politically motivated.
Everything is politically motivated, and you have to point it all out.
Exactly.
Yes. It's politics.
Sarkeesian is eating her words so hard right now that it's going all the way down to her ass.
Yes.
It's fucking politics. It's a political arena. It's a political stage.
Yeah.
It's a political event. It's a political election. Yeah. You're telling me there's no political motivation?
I mean, it's like paraphrasing our favorite law,
Right,
Cal.
grade A, double stuff, horseshit.
Yeah. And to paraphrase our favorite law, Cal, from the Gamergate era, It's all corrupt. It's all skeezy. It's all underhanded, and you have to point it all out.
Damn straight.
If the president is looking to fire Mr. Rosenstein, he will have to look outside the Nunes memo for his pretext.
Oh, so see what they did there?
Huh?
They're suggesting that he needs a pretext to fire this guy.
Yeah.
You know, they're suggesting that he just wants to fire him because.
Yeah.
Like, they're suggesting that there is no legitimate reason for this person to be fired.
For shit,
and I don't know that there is.
Giggles.
Yeah.
I don't know that there is, but I do know what they're trying to suggest there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Number 4, the Nunes memo shows that House Republicans are now part and parcel to an organized effort to obstruct the special counsel's investigation. On January 24, 2018, the Department of Justice wrote to warn the House Intelligence Committee that releasing the memo would be, quote, extraordinarily reckless, unquote. On January 29th, the FBI issued a statement citing, quote, grave concerns, unquote, with inaccuracies and omissions in that document.
They should have paid attention to those omissions initially. They'd be fine right now. Mm-hmm. Next. Assholes.
Yep, they are. On January 30th, the majority twice blocked our request to move the House Judiciary Committee into closed session, where we would have been free to discuss our own concerns with the plan to make this information public without context, without meaningful input from the FBI, and without providing members with access to the source materials. In other words, without letting them read it and redact the fuck out of it so we wouldn't get the whole memo in its entirety.
Exactly.
On February 1st, I wrote to Chairman Goodlatte, asking him...
Yeah, I had that same thought.
He's a good coffee. I didn't know that.
Well, was he born in a fucking Starbucks?
I don't know. Asking for him to call the FBI director and other officials from the Department of Justice to brief us on an emergency basis before the Nunes memo was made public, but my request was again ignored because it would give you a chance to redact the fucking thing.
Seriously, are they just throwing words together at random now to come up with names? Good latte? Come on. Hi, I'm Roger Nice Cheese. This is my friend. This is my friend, Stephen Dirty Overalls.
Yeah, I know, right? G. Bronner. True, Mitch, but the media used to be much easier to manipulate, which is why they want to police thoughts online now.
Yep.
Well,
see, that's just it. He brings up a good point there. They want to police what we think via the internet because they can't use the media by itself anymore to tell us what to think. It just won't work anymore.
No, it won't. Because there's too many of us pointing all the bullshit out.
Yeah. That's why they need to... That's why they're going for all this Angela Merkel German fucking internet regulation shit.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's why Count Dankula is in trial right now.
Yep. Exactly. House Republicans do not speak up when President Trump attacks the press, smears career investigators by name, or demands loyalty from the leadership of the Department of Justice and the FBI. They have taken no significant steps to understand how the Russian government worked to undermine our last election. They show little interest in protecting our next election from foreign attack, even though President Trump's hand-picked intelligence chiefs warn us that the threat is very real.
Prove it. Demonstrate the threat.
First of all, attacks the press. When we, as ordinary citizens, and I, as a citizen journalist, can sit there and call out the inaccuracies for CNN and MSNBC and NBC and CBS and all these mainstream media outlets, it is fake news. It is propaganda. It is horribly inaccurate, and they're pushing this shit as truth.
Now, do you remember a while back?
People are buying it. The most alarming thing is that I have to tell is that my parents think I'm insane, pretty much. That I have to basically not state my opinion in my own household. That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you remember a few years back? There was one of the shootings. It was when they were, and then they all got together and decided it's time to ban magazines again.
Mm-hmm.
Dear Lord.
But they didn't want to ban magazines. They wanted to ban clips. And then someone pointed out to them that clips is the wrong word. These are actually magazines. This is a clip. This is a magazine. And the media, in being as thorough as they are, couldn't make the distinction still. After it was explained to them, they didn't go from clip to magazine. They went to magazine clip.
Yeah, yeah.
They wanted to ban magazine clips. What the fuck are magazine clips? Is that the little part that protrudes out just a little bit? It's got a little bend at the end so you can stick it right on your belt? What the fuck are you talking about? Magazine clips. This is the media. This is the media. This is why the media is being called out so often. It's because they are full of shit. They don't check. They don't look through things thoroughly at all.
No, they also have the same problem with suppressors and silencers.
Yes. I mean, how long before they call those suppressed silencers?
I don't know.
For fuck's sake.
Until now, we could only really accuse House Republicans of ignoring the president's open attempts to block the Russia investigation. He said investigate! He never blocked it! He said, we're going to investigate you. Trump went, okay. How is that blocking?
Oh, for them, it's blocking because he didn't admit to anything, apparently.
But with the release
they're that far gone.
Yeah, they are. But with the release of the Nunes memo, a backhanded attempt to cast doubt on the origins of the special counsel's investigation, we can only conclude that House Republicans are complicit in the effort to help the president avoid accountability for his actions and for the actions of his campaign. In the end, who could possibly benefit from the release of this shoddy work? Only Trump, who will use these half-truths to further interfere with the special counsel, and Vladimir Putin, who now has a clear view of how our intelligence community attempted to interrupt his operations in the United States. Oh my God. Okay. He was a businessman before he was president. He has business ventures all over the fucking world. He has businesses in Russia, Asia, Europe, as well as the United States. He gave all that to a family member when he became president to manage because he knew that they were going to bitch him. There's nothing this guy can do that they won't bitch him, haw, whine, or need somebody to stuff a fucking pacifier in their mouth for.
Exactly. That's what I mean. This whole thing should just read as, yeah, but we don't like Donald Trump.
Yeah. Oh, additional background. Oh, this should be interesting. Christopher Steele served as an intelligence officer with British intelligence service MI6 from 1987 until his retirement in 2009. From 1990 to 1992, he worked under diplomatic cover as an MI6 agent in the Embassy of the United Kingdom to Russia. By 2006, Steele headed the Russia desk at MI6. He remains one of the world's foremost experts on Russia, and in particular connections between the Russian government and organized crime.
I have a question. Who's outing agents now?
Exactly. In September 2015... I know, right? In September 2015, the conservative Washington Free Beacon retained the services of Fusion GPS to conduct opposition research on Donald Trump. When President Trump emerged as the Republican candidate, the Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee hired Fusion GPS for the same services. As part of this project, Christopher Steele produced what became known as the Steele Dossier.
PP.
Carter Page was known to the United States government for his involvement with the Russian government long before he joined the Trump campaign. Let me reread that. Carter Page was known to the United States government for his involvement with the Russian government long before he joined the Trump campaign.
So they were fine with it.
Deaf and blind?
They were fine with it up until the point that Donald Trump announced his candidacy. Okay, got it.
Right. Court documents show that Russian intelligence operatives attempted to recruit Page in 2013. Attempted to recruit and recruited are not the same thing. One spy thought that Page was an idiot who wants to rise up and earn lots of money. Then candidate Donald Trump named Page as part of Trump campaign's foreign policy team on March 21st, 2016. In July 2016, with the explicit approval of the Trump campaign, Page traveled to Moscow to give a speech on the future of the world economy. That doesn't mean he was colluding with the Russians. And to meet with Russian officials.
It sounds to me like Donald Trump hired an expert on Russia to be a foreign, what is it?
A foreign envoy.
Foreign policy advisor.
Mm-hmm. Despite several public accounts of these meetings, Page would later deny any contact with the Russian government. Okay, if he did that, he fucked up. By August 2016, when it had become apparent that the Russian government was working to undermine the election, again with no proof, but there is a link, I'll click on it in a minute, the Trump campaign began to distance itself from Carter Page. Later reports show that in testimony before House Intelligence Committee, Page admitted to meeting with Russian officials and to briefing at least one senior person on the Trump campaign about those meetings. None of this information relies upon the Steele dossier.
Then why are they so upset about releasing it?
Right.
Ba-da-ba.
Exactly. The relevant legal standard for evaluating the FISA application is laid out in Franks and Delaware. There is, of course, a presumption of validity with respect to the affidavit supporting the search warrant. So let me click on this undermine the election shit. See what we come up with. Oh, a New York Times. Harkening back to August 29th, 2016. Oh, and look who's in the picture. It's Hillary and Harry Reid.
It's killjoyery.
Yeah.
Interesting that they're in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. The Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid of Nevada asked FBI on Monday to investigate evidence suggesting that Russia may try to manipulate voting results in November. This is back August 2016 for those of you who didn't catch it. So, okay, manipulating voting results and colluding with Russia are two different things.
Yep.
Two totally different things.
And what, are they talking about the 0.015%, or 0.015 cents that Russia spent on advertising on Facebook?
Yeah, right? Oh my god.
And it's Russia. How exactly are you going to get Russians to vote as Americans? You're not.
No. I mean, that's where, the Russian hackers came in.
Well, yeah.
Dear Lord, these people are so tin hat that it hurts.
They are. Okay, I am clicking on, for those of you that are following in the research channel, the hsgac.senate.gov thing that says Chairman Johnson. That's the one I clicked on and opened up just now. So, let me minimize this so I can see the chat. All right. Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs. Chairman Johnson releases interim report including Strzok Page FBI text messages. We're not going to read the text messages. There's 502 pages of the things. That would take forever.
Oh, yeah.
Washington, this is February 7th. U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, Republican from Wisconsin, chairman of the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, released a majority staff report Wednesday titled The Clinton Email Scandal and the FBI's Investigation of It, along with text messages between two agents that shed light on the investigation. The report details a congressional investigation of former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's private email server and the oversight of the Federal Bureau of Investigation's involvement with their investigation of Secretary Clinton's private server.
My mother is an angel. She got me a Mountain Dew.
Groovy. I do need to point out that something that further suggests a degree of collusion between the FBI and the Clinton campaign is Director Comey's public statement that it looks like it's coming up here in the story.
Yep. Hey, Diz, I know I didn't say hey to you earlier. I'm saying hey to you now. The report outlines how information available to the committee at this time raises serious questions about how the FBI applied the rule of law in its investigation. The majority staff report found that. First bullet point, FBI did not use a grand jury to compel testimony and obtain the vast majority of evidence, choosing instead to offer immunity deals and allow fact witnesses to join key interviews. Laptop!
Favoritism.
Yeah,
I was
Favoritism.
gonna say that Diz has a point. Like, I kind of feel the same in the sense that, and for those of you who can't read the chat or haven't read it, Diz said, quote, "I can't make fun of conspiracy theorists. Too many have been right."
Well, yeah, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
we used to laugh at people for some of the stuff that they say was going to happen, and here we are.
Yep, here we are.
And it's happening.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm. The second bullet point reads, there were substantial edits to former FBI Director James Comey's public statement that served to downplay the severity of Secretary Clinton's actions, and that the first draft of the memo was distributed for editing 2 months before key witnesses were interviewed. Things that make you go,
Things that make you say collusion with the Clinton campaign.
Yep. Next bullet point, Director Comey stated that he had not consulted with the Justice Department or White House when text messages among FBI agents involved the investigation suggest otherwise. Two key investigators discuss an insurance policy against the risk of a Trump presidency and our task.
That could be construed as a we're going to have to kill the guy if he gets elected kind of a statement, couldn't it?
Oh, yeah. Messages discuss unfinished business, an investigation leading to impeachment, and my gut sense and concern, there's no big there.
It's ridiculous.
It's sickening.
Reading the rest of it.
Okay.
I'm reading the rest of the
All
bullet
of this
point.
is sickening.
The
I'm
messages,
sitting here listening to this.
The messages strongly underscore the need to obtain still missing text messages and other information regarding the FBI's actions in investigation into the Clinton email scandal and Russian involvement in the November 2016 election. And the final bullet point, senior FBI officials, likely including Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, knew about newly discovered emails on a laptop belonging to former U.S. Representative Anthony Weiner for almost a month before Director Comey notified Congress. Interesting.
No, nothing fishy here.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, it smells like an anchovy's cunt, but nothing fishy here.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it turns your stomach. You know the government's corrupt. Those of us that have half a brain and common sense know that the government is corrupt. But to travel down the rabbit hole and just see how far people will go, it turns the stomach.
It's, oh, God, stop yawning. What bothers me, and I mentioned this in the chat earlier to G. Bronner, it's not that the government's corrupt. I'm not shocked by that. I'm not surprised by it. I expect it at this point. What bothers me is that we have a populace that is intellectually lazy. They don't want to think this stuff through. They just want to go get on about their business and be left alone. Well, what they don't realize is if they want to be left alone, they're going to have to do something about it to make sure they're left alone. And that's going to involve some effort intellectually to figure out where the government's fucking you on a daily basis and knowing how to get them to stop. It's not just about President Trump. It's about all of us.
Yeah.
President Trump is the tip of the iceberg. I mean, the stuff they do to us on a regular basis is just fucking insidious.
Yeah. It is.
God damn it, people, get some fucking intellectual fortitude and start. Just read the documents. I don't mean this stuff, but you got to read this stuff too. But first, you gotta read and understand the Bill of Rights. Just the Bill of Rights. That's all it will take.
Yeah.
And then you'll start to see how you're getting fucked.
Yeah.
Keep a dictionary handy. Look up even those words that you think you understand, because it'll give you a different interpretation possibly, and you'll start to understand it a little bit more deeply.
Yeah.
Then you see all the shit going on, and you see this shit in particular going on. We have to find a way to stop it. And, it's all perfectly good and well to bounce around saying drain the swamp.
Yeah.
That only goes so far. That's a slogan.
Yeah.
A slogan's not going to solve the problem. A hashtag isn't going to do shit.
No.
I'm surprised people still use them. Hashtags don't do shit. Hashtags don't do shit.
Yeah.
Okay? How about that?
Oh,
Fair statement.
breaking news. Hang on. Breaking news.
Oh, Lord.
Hello. Where'd it go? We have a little bit. Oh, CNN. Fuck. I don't want to read a CNN fucking article, but it's the only one out. And it is breaking news, so I can always, research it later for more information.
And re-break it.
Yeah. Alright, so we have here, and it's showing up? Yep, okay. Apologies for the CNN bullshit. Trump won't declassify Democratic memo, sends back to committee. So what we've been writing, that was a response to the memo, so apparently the memo has not been released yet, the Democratic one anyway. President Donald Trump won't release a Democratic rebuttal to the Republican intelligence memo alleging FBI abuses of its surveillance authority at this time, and has sent it back to the House Intelligence Committee for changes. Something he didn't do with the FISA memo.
See, I don't like that. I want to see this shit bald.
Yeah.
I want to see this shit without makeup.
Yeah. So I'm going to further look into that later. So I'm only going to read those few pages, those few lines, because it's CNN. So.
Because, if this one comes out with fucking, redactions and fucking eyeliner pencil, come on.
Yeah.
No, I want to see the real shit.
We all do at this point. Okay, it is coming to the hour and a half mark. I have been here with the indomitable Mitch the Ripper.
I wouldn't go that far.
And the voice of people who want to learn more, Lou.
Thank you for having me. I had a wonderful, wonderful time.
You had a squeak.
Yes, I did. And I hope you enjoyed my squeaks.
Well, that
No
sounds
Thrax
just a
did.
little bit dirty, doesn't it?
I know Thrax did. That's all that matters.
That makes it sound like I was up there tickling your whimsy.
Gee, thanks.
And as I like to close out the show, whether it's coffee or tea, thank you for spending time with me on Coffee Talk. You guys have a good evening, and catch you next time.